Welcome back to the final day of time trials, bump day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. A.J. Foyt has won the race 4 times as a driver, once as a car owner with Kenny Breck, who provided some drama here this weekend. But A.J., you've provided the drama here on bump day by putting Felipe Giaffone in the car. At what point today were you confident that you were actually going to put him in the car to make a qualifying attempt?
Well, maybe about 3 hours before the track closed, and then we fitted him in the car, and then we checked the setup because my son Larry run the car over 216. We felt the car was pretty sanitary, but, you know, 2 drivers don't drive alike, and as you probably noticed, Kenny come up and congratulate me because Kenny Bragg and I are very close friends. I mean, I feel like I'm like a father to him. He looks up on me, but we're great friends.
I noticed the communication between you and Felipe seemed spot on from the very beginning. The two of you communicated in regards to the car very well, but you really have no history with him, do you?
None at all, and it was hard for me to understand him when he's out there running, so that's the reason you see me leaning in the car. We'll get better communications, and I finally understood him. It was just hard for me to understand him.
What do you feel now for the guy down the line, Arie Luyendyk Jr., a young man trying to make this race for the first time, and you know his heart must be breaking right now?
Well, that's quite true. You know, he's a great young driver, and you're going to hear a lot more from him. I mean, this is just one of them things that happen. You know, Indianapolis has always been the fastest 33 cars start this race. I know I've been on the bump before. I never got bumped, you know, but I've been pretty close, and I know he feels bad, but he's a super young kid. You can expect a lot from him. Because
of the investment that it takes to get into a seat here, and what obviously the investment that the Luyendyks had to make to get into that car, did you ever consider not trying to bump them from the field?
Well, I didn't know what kind of money they put in. I've got a lot of money in my cars too, so neither here or there. That's just the way it is, you know, how it happens.
That's racing, right? A.J. Foyt has a 3rd car in the field with Felipe Giaffone, and now Arie Luyendyk Jr. is making his way back out. Will we see a final qualification attempt from the rookie? Stay tuned.
Thank you very much, Vince. Just over 8 minutes remaining here in Bump Day. This is what Bump Day is all about, the drama of the final moments. Now, this young man, a rookie, barely able to get on the racetrack with the final minutes of practice on Friday. And then of Saturday, of course, in practice. This is just going out to practice now because Arie Luyendyk Jr. had gotten his way in the field the first time he'd ever attempted to qualify. And now, Greg Ray, so much pressure on a rookie. What must he not do? What must he not think about trying to do here in these final 8 minutes?
Well, you know, I'm glad I'm not on the radio with him because you don't know what advice to give him. You know, he is a rookie. He doesn't have a lot of laps here. He's gone through a roller coaster of emotions. He's in the car. He's got less than 10 minutes left, and he knows he has to stand on the gas to get it done. You know, the thing that I think that his team and his father are trying to tell him is, if you feel the car, if it feels right, then go for it. But if it doesn't feel right, don't try to make 2 and 2 be 5 here, because you know, anytime you try to make something and you try to telepath that car to do something that it doesn't want to do, it normally doesn't work out very good.
Historically, rookies who are rushed here, rookies who try to do too much too soon, too quickly, well, the news normally isn't very good. They end up getting themselves in trouble. But the moments are ticking. The clock is ticking for Arie Luyendyk Jr. Can he get it in the field? Now, the field of 33 is full as we take a look at the starting lineups right now. On the front row, reigning series champion Tony Kanaan. Alongside him, 2-time series champion Sam Hornish Jr., the Penske ride, and the Delphi Fernandez machine, former pole sitter and Indy Racing Series co-champion Scott Sharp. Row 2. What about history being made for Danica Patrick, best qualifying effort ever for a woman in Indy 500? 2-time champion Elio Castroneves and Dario Franchitti. Back in row 3, he was the quickest car in the race a year ago. Vitor Mira, maybe the sleeper in this year's 500. Kosuke Matsura, the Bombardier Rookie of the Year. And the 1996 winner, Buddy Lazier, driving a Chevrolet. In row 4, rookie Thomas Inge from Czechoslovakia. Thomas Schechter, who led so many laps his first 2 trips here. And former pole sitter Bruno Junqueira. In row 5, the 2003 RL IndyCar Series champion Scott Dixon for the Chip Ganassi Target machine. Adrian Fernandez, his first start here in 2005. And beside them, the reigning Champ Car Series champion Sebastian Bourdais, a rookie. Row 6, current points leader for the RL IndyCar Series. 3 wins in the first 4 races here in 2005. He's been the man who's had the hot hand, Dan Weldon. Roger Yasukawa, and then Brian Hurd of the 2-time pole sitter. two of those cars inside and outside for Andretti Green Racing. Darren Manning, Richie Hearn, and rookie Jeff Bucknam will fill row 7. Back in row 8, Alex Barron, the Red Bull Cheever machine. And there is Kenny Brack, the fastest car in the field, starting way back in 23rd spot for the 1999 winner, who had an incredible comeback here yesterday. And then beside him, the rookie Ryan Briscoe out of Australia. Back in row 9, Patrick Carpentier, the French-Canadian who came over from Champ Car. He's a rookie here, but has tremendous ability. Ed Carpenter, who's won here in Menards Infinity Pro Series action, and Jacques Lazier in the car number 21. In row 10, Anthony Foyt, A.J. Foyt the fourth, Marty Roth starting his second Indy 500, and Larry Foyt, 2 Foyts and a Roth in row 10. Back in row 11, the final row, Jeff Ward, the former Rookie of the Year here, Jimmy Kite, subbing in the ethanol Hemagon car for Paul Dana. And just moments ago, Felipe Giaffone qualifying in the car number 48 for A.J. Foyt to give Foyt 3 cars in the starting field. Now the clock is ticking. What's going to happen down trackside for Arie Luyendyk Jr.? Vince Welch?
Arie Luyendyk Jr. was just told, bring it in, we'll fill it up or put the appropriate amount of fuel in it, and we'll go out for a qualifying attempt. We're now within the final 5 minutes of availability for a track qualification attempt. So this is going to be it. And you see on the bubble, Felipe Giaffone, and that is the speed of 2:17.645, the 4-lap average that Arie Luyendyk Jr. must beat. He has not put together 4 laps at that speed yet over the course of the past day or so. So that would be quite an accomplishment if he could pull it off. The one thing, and this is exactly what Greg Ray had touched on, they've been stressing to him, don't try to do too much. Only take out of the car what it gives you. They want to make sure that this one rolls back in one piece.
Less than 4 minutes remain now for the young rookie who must go out and try to find a 1.5 miles. His best speed, 2:15.9. He's got to be over 2:17.6 to get the car in the field for 4 consecutive laps. And remember, as Greg Ray said a moment ago, you cannot be a hero. You simply have to go out and do the best you can and come back next year. We'll find out what happens for Arie Luyendyk when we come back in a moment. Arie Luyendyk Jr. getting rolled in the line, preparing to qualify here as the final minutes tick away. We'll remind you, we'll visit with you next at 2 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. That's Carb Day coming up this Friday. No carburetors on these cars, but lots of practice. The final 1 hour of practice. The Futaba Freedom 100 Menards Infinity Pro Series event in the Checkers Rallies Pit Stop Challenge. $80,000 up for grabs. And of course, we'll end it all 1 week from today with the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500 over on ABC at a brand new time, by the way, 12 noon Eastern time. Todd Harris, Scott Goodyear, and all of us will join you for live coverage of the greatest spectacle in racing. Now, we are less than 2 minutes away from the track closing, and here's how the rules work. This man here understands what happens next. As long as his son pulls out of inspection and is given the okay to move on right before 6 o'clock, if it's a few seconds before 6, once he pulls away, he can complete his run of 4 consecutive laps, even if the gun sounds to close the track. They are right now battling the clock. Less than 2 minutes to go. He's got to roll across his pad, get down in line, and be waved out by Brian Barnhart before the gun sounds at 6 o'clock Eastern time.
You know, I'm just sitting there watching the picture of Arie Luyendyk Sr., and I'm trying to imagine the emotions he's going through. Again, I said it earlier today. Today, May 22nd, is my son, Winston Reyes' 12th birthday. And I can't imagine what it's like to have my son in the car. He has his son out there, and you know, the track's cooler. It's going to be faster, changing conditions. He's got a big task in front of him.
45 seconds away from the gun. I said 7. It's 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock local time. There's a time he has to beat. 35 seconds away. They got to get it fired and get him out of there. Brian Barnhart said, get out of here if you're going to go. They got it fired up. 25 seconds. Can he do it? The final seconds of Bump Day. Here he goes. 15 seconds to go before 6 o'clock, and the crowd on their feet. Dad's got to be shaking, folks. The two-time Indy 500 winner watching his young son go out and try to do what he has not been able to do thus far. He has got to find 1.5 miles an hour and somehow get this car in the field. And Greg Ray, when you're a Luyendyk and you grow up seeing your dad win this race, it's what you dream about, coming here and running the Indianapolis 500. And now this young man is going to try to secure his dream.
You know, it's absolutely something that he's dreamed about his entire life. But, you know, living up to the last name Luyendyk, that's some big boost to fill. He's feeling a lot of pressure right now. There's no doubt that the track conditions have changed, and he's got a big task in front of him.
Absolutely. Coming up next, Pontiac Performance NHRA Nationals. We'll be joining Marty Reed and Mike Dunn for NHRA action coming your way from National Trail Raceway in Columbus, Ohio. After these final moments, and there are no mulligans here, folks. It's now or never for Arie Luyendyk Jr. He's got to get up to speed and get 4 laps in, and he's got to be better than 2:17.645. Unbelievable pressure. But it's what this race is all about. It's what Indianapolis Motor Speedway is all about. Rarely does an athlete know that he has a day that can change his life forever. This could be such a day for Arie Luyendyk Jr. Can he pull it off? As he comes down and gets up to speed, first time by in a warm-up lap. The youngster, as Felipe Giaffone is trying to focus on the interviews at hand, but also keep an eye on what's happening on the racetrack. First time by Greg Ray, the warm-up lap, 2:08.7. That'll not get it done.
Well, he still has one more lap, warm-up lap to go, and the conditions are different. I'm sure his crew chief, his father, and everybody has told him, you know, this is what they've always commonly referred to as happy hour. The air temperature drops, the track temperature drops a ton. I mean, it drops a lot in turn 1, turn 4. The car is going to handle different. The air near the track is much, much cooler, and the car is going to be more neutral all on its own. It's going to be a little bit looser. That is faster, but it is looser. And he's just carrying a ton of bricks as far as pressure right now. We'll see what he can do.
Green flag waves for the youngster Arie Luyendyk Jr., who's been here in a Menards Infinity Pro Series car, has never run an IndyCar Series event. This track made his father's name legendary in open wheel racing with a win in 1990 and again in 1997 from the pole. He's wanted to come here, and now he's got to do what it's very difficult for any rookie to do, find speed here in the final seconds of bump day.
His second warm-up lap there, 2:13.9, almost 214 miles an hour. That's 3 miles an hour slower than Felipe Giaffone, so he's really going to have to pick it up. I think if he can get a 2:17 this first lap, they're going to keep him out there. If he doesn't do a 2:17, they'll probably wave him off.
And there he is, 0.5 seconds slower first time by, 2:14.123. And that lap right now, unless he can do something remarkable in the next 3 laps, would not be enough to get him in. Remember, it is the 4-lap average that puts you in the starting field here.
You know, he's definitely quite a bit slower. I don't think he can overcome that margin. You know, they may leave him out there just for the experience. There's no way to get experience than other going out there and doing it. He doesn't have time to make another run, but unless he picks it up a lot, I just don't see him bumping out Felipe Giaffone at this point.
This track is all about history and heritage, the ritual of pole day, the ritual of bump day, and the most remarkable ritual on race day and the greatest spectacle in racing. Fathers who watch their sons follow in their footsteps. Earlier in the day, Arie Luyendyk Jr. became the 24th son to follow his father into a starting spot in the Indianapolis 500 field. He was bumped out moments ago by Felipe Giaffone in the 3rd A.J. Foyt car. Giaffone knowing that if something miraculous has to happen now for him to be bumped from the field. 2:13.983 second time by. Now we're on lap 3 for Arie Luyendyk Jr. Coming up momentarily, NHRA action from National Trail Raceway in Columbus, Ohio, as we are 1 lap away from seeing what could happen for Arie Luyendyk Jr. White flag for Luyendyk. In the car, trying to do all he can. He does not have the speed, and now he cannot afford to make a mistake.
Yeah, you know, his first qualifying attempt was 2:15 average. He did 2:14, 2:13, 2:09. He's really fallen off. He's not even on the pace he was earlier. That's nowhere near 2:17, and so a very valiant effort, but there's no way he can make it in the field and time's out.
It is the gamut of emotions here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. At 3:30 today, Dad had a big smile, and Arie Luyendyk Jr. jumped out of the car to applause from the crowd. He was a second-generation driver getting prepared to start the Indy 500. But now it has gone away. He has given it a valiant effort as Felipe Giaffone has bumped his way in to the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. Giaffone becomes the 33rd and final qualifier to make the starting field with an average speed of 2:17.645 miles per hour. But what an effort for Arie Luyendyk Jr.
Absolutely, Arie Luyendyk did a great job. A lot of experience. There's no way you can do that You know, you just can't get that experience any other way.
For Jamie Little, Vince Welch, and Greg Ray, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating the 33 drivers and cars that will start the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. Coming up next, NHRA action from National Trail Raceway in Columbus, Ohio. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. As we watch Felipe Giaffone, he has made it from Babies R Us. He has bumped his way in the Indianapolis 500 field. So long, everyone.